Hi everyone, welcome to this new video. Today I will be showing you the custom that I made with my friend Estelle. We were trying for like 6 hours to grind this event, the trophy for the Easter event on Phasmophobia. So I will be showing you the custom settings and in general like how we would manage to go through the game. Now the idea for the custom is to create a custom where number one, the ghost hunts slightly faster than normal, and number two, while still having somewhat of a normal-ish game, we still have a way higher multiplier. The reason for that is that when you guess the correct ghost, you get not only 10 points, but you get extra depending on the multiplier that you have currently going on. Now, here's the thing. We try to play it a little less grindy, I guess, than other people. What we were doing is that we were keeping our starting sanity at 50. This way, there was a possibility that the ghost would immediately start hunting, but quite frankly, like as I said, we played for like 6 hours, roughly. It didn't really start hunting immediately the moment we walk in every single time. Still, obviously, if you do the same settings as I did, 100% grab a smudge immediately. It will try to hunt pretty early because your sanity is already pretty low. Our method, which obviously we sharpened as we kept playing, but I'm just gonna tell you like the most effective one that we personally have found. My friend would carry salt, smudge, so incense, and the dots tier 1. So the first thing he would do walking in would be place a salt around, so we would immediately test for a wraith. So placing salt immediately, and then tier 1 dots to be able to spray pretty fast all of the bunnies in the different nests. And then my loot would kinda change, honestly, my loadout, depending on the objectives. So if we needed to use the parabolic, I would carry the parabolic. If we needed a firelight, I would take the firelight, stuff like that. In general, I would carry the crucifix and the camera, the video camera, to immediately check for orbs, just to make sure that it's not a mimic, because on 0 evidences, the only ghost that you can tell at 100% certainty is mimic with ghost orbs. Also, we put the music box as the cursed possession because this helps us directly being able to take the ghost photo when needed for the objective. As I said, like I've seen other people doing this, but they would directly like do the easy objectives and then immediately run back to the van. We didn't. We were still trying to get all the bunnies and all the objectives whenever possible. Obviously, if an objective was seemingly impossible, we would just give up and move on. However, something that we started doing around the 3 hours in, just because we realized that, you know, it was just a waste of time otherwise, we started directly skipping and just randomly guessing the ghost whenever the ghost was a seemingly normal ghost. What I mean is that the ghost itself during the hunt or in between hunts, so in terms of behavior, didn't have anything particularly recognizable. And just to make this video as complete as possible, I'm just gonna tell you like which ones are the easy ghosts and which aren't. Spirit isn't really an easy one. The smudge test can be difficult, can be unlucky, so we wouldn't normally even attempt it. Poltergeist, the same thing. You can try to put around like little polty piles and then see after the hunt. Also be careful though to not put them in a spot where the ghost could get stuck, because after the hunt, you cannot tell the difference between a polty pile explosion and the ghost simply walking through items multiple times and just ending up looking like an explosion. Same thing with the mare. Unless it does its ability, there's pretty much no way of telling, like, without wasting time. The point is without wasting time. Demon, pretty much only depending on how fast and how often it hunts, especially after smudging, but again, no point in trying it and wasting more time for it. Yokai, kinda similar. You can do a yokai test. Miling, with this event going on, especially with the bells that are on the ghost model, you cannot do a proper miling test. Raiju is gonna be slightly easier. If you have electronics nearby, just try to listen if the ghost ends up speeding up only where your electronics are. Moroi is gonna be pretty fast. Now you'll be at 50 sanity as we said starting, so it will not be like at its fastest ever, but it will still be pretty fast. And as you keep going, it will get slightly faster. Wraith doesn't step in salt. Banshee, if you can technically test it with all of the people playing inside the house. You try to figure out who the target is, or if it happens to be like spawning on people and killing them, it could potentially be a Banshee. It could also potentially be a Wraith, because those are the two that technically have the ability to spawn next to people, to teleport to people, but not necessarily. I had it happening. We were so convinced it was a Banshee and it was a Phantom, so you can't exactly tell. But Banshee, if the target is in the house, she will completely ignore everyone else. So if you try to use like your walkie-talkie or try to talk, stuff like that, and the ghost doesn't come your way, chances are either you're too far in general, but if you're within the correct range, it's either a yokai or a Banshee, and you just need to test for one of the two, and in that case it might be worth it to try. Revenant is gonna be extremely slow, but then super fast the moment it finds one of you. U-Ray, unless it does the door ability, there is no way of telling. Hantu, the Hantu breath doesn't correctly work. I had it happening on stream where it was a Hantu, but it did not do the Hantu breath 2 times in a row with the breaker turned off, obviously. So I wouldn't say Hantu breath, I would say listen for the speed, and Hantu doesn't have line of sight speed up. Unreal, you can try by putting a candle in the ghost room. If it hunts with the candle still lit, technically it shouldn't be an Unreal, but you can't test it exactly. Obake, no point in even attempting it, because for this event the Obake does not have the mutation. It's literally coded to not be able to mutate to any other character, so you cannot test it. I feel like we all know by now, but the Dio is super duper fast. It's the opposite of the Revenant. It's super duper fast, but it will get super slow when it's close to you. You just need to be walking around. If you hear the ghost being really fast, I would suggest you, if you have a smudge, of course, try to get closer to it to make sure if it's a Dio or if it's something else. Because if it's a Dio, it's gonna be so much easier and you're gonna be able to immediately tell. And if you're hiding and it's a Dio, it's still gonna find you. The Phantom is gonna have longer blinks, which means that it's gonna be almost invisible. Also, if you try to take a ghost photo, it will disappear. It will not be in the photo. So if you have the objective to capture the ghost photo, you use the music box for that, take the picture, and during the music box event, they are extremely, like, they're fully visible. So if it's not in the photo, it's a Phantom. Jin is gonna speed up way more than a normal line of sight speed up if the breaker is on. Shade will not hunt when you're in the room, and that's pretty much the only way to figure it out during this event. Oni will blink less, meaning that it will be extremely visible. If it does a airball event, so where you see like that airball coming to you and then it breathes, it's not an Oni. The Oni physically cannot. It's coded to not be able to do that. Goryo, no possibility, no way of testing it. The twins, you're gonna have, if you're lucky, 2 different speeds. One is a little slower than average and the other one a little faster than average. Mimic, as we said, either you get completely different behaviors, so you get like a Revenant and a Dio, for example, in 2 different hunts, or you see orbs. Thaye is gonna be extremely fast, and I can guarantee it's gonna be fast pretty much the whole time that you're gonna be playing. It's gonna be the fastest ghost you can get the moment you walk in, and it doesn't have line of sight, so it's gonna be that speed the whole time. A couple extra things to get rid of a few. We already said the Oni, but then Banshee and Goryo can't change ghost rooms, so if your ghost never changes ghost room with the custom settings, that if you're using my same custom settings, there's really high chances that it's one of the two. Personally, we never had a single case where it wasn't one of the two. If it turns off the breaker, it's not a Jin. If it turns on the breaker, it's not a Hantu. If it turns on a light, it's not a mare. And this is pretty much all I can think of currently of like really quick ways to tell. And obviously, as I said already, but clarifying again, Wraith doesn't step in salt. You need to make sure, however, that it's actually walking where the salt is. So try putting it in places where the ghost physically, like in a corridor, where the ghost physically cannot avoid it. So this is pretty much like super summed up how to recognize each ghost, or to be precise, which ghosts are easy to recognize and which ones you shouldn't even attempt to recognize. So what we would be doing, because I can guarantee 100% while you're trying to do the optional objectives and find all the bunnies and all of that, 100% it will manage to hunt at least once, because it will move around a lot and the crucie is not gonna be able to stop it properly like every single time, and eventually you're gonna run out of crucies. So what we would do was that by the time that we've finished all of our objectives, found all the bunnies and all of that, if we were both still alive and the ghost wasn't an easy one to guess, we would immediately like start crossing out a couple, give it one more hunt and test like a couple more things, for example the banshee, the yokai, the unreal, and then we would simply either manage to guess it or we would simply pick a random one out of the possible remaining and leave. You're actually gonna get way more points if you just do everything else but guess the ghost wrong in two games in a row, where you spend like 10 minutes in total, 5 minutes each, rather than you spending 15-20 minutes in the game trying to figure out what the ghost is and then you end up not even getting it right. This is how the event works, and this is the best way currently to do it. Obviously, depending on how many people you have, you can also just decide to go for more stuff. You can decide to go for 0 sanity, so you can get maybe a 9 times multiplier by changing a few things. Also, depending on which map you have, you can make different choices. This is all the information I can give you on it, and now we'll be slightly moving and giving you my 2 cents on the thing and kind of leaving an open letter to the developers. I don't know if they will ever, stop by to see this video, but either way, first off, I want to apologize, even though I have no correlation with it whatsoever, but I feel so bad and I'm so sorry for new players who will happen to try and grind this, because I genuinely have no clue of knowing, like I genuinely don't know how a normal newish player who plays on professional would be able to complete this fast. I don't know what these developers were thinking, quite frankly, and before anyone tells me about it, that yes, technically they did mention that, oh, you can complete it next year. It doesn't make any sense. First off, it takes away the whole thing, and the thing is, I feel like an average gamer, you enjoy grinding to a certain extent. You enjoy getting on the game and having a purpose. So I'm gonna get on the game so that I'm gonna be able to get this trophy and it's gonna be super cool. But then actually next year I can still finish it, so it doesn't really matter. Also, does that mean that next year I'm not gonna get a new trophy? And does that mean that if I think this year's trophy sucks, for example, which I personally don't, I think the third one is pretty dope, but what if I don't like this trophy and I don't want to upgrade it, or I really like it the way that it is and I don't want to upgrade it, but next year's I want to upgrade that one? Does that mean that now I will be just stuck forever one trophy behind for the rest of the time that I will be playing this game? Because it doesn't make any sense. And the solution to an event where people have to grind way too much is not to give them the possibility to keep it next year and do it next year. The solution is to change the amount of points that people need. Also, I am a major custom hater, and I wouldn't say hater per se, but I don't like customs. I understand when you are like, oh, I'm gonna play a couple of 10 times because I'm just trying to level up those couple of levels. That's understandable. Doing it every now and then, it's understandable. Looking for a challenge after being playing for so long that you genuinely identify ghosts just so easily is also understandable. But a random new player who puts on that just to flex something that doesn't have any meaning, their prestige card that doesn't mean anything because they suck at the game and they don't understand nothing, that doesn't make any sense. I hate it. I despise it. I think it's really like the current video games greed in a nutshell. Like, it's more important for me to have the title of prestige number whatever than actually being good at the game. And the fact that now to grind this shit trophy, I now have to put a custom on and I don't have another choice because I will not have time. And dude, I'm unemployed. I do have free time and I'm still just not on the game 24/7. Therefore, I cannot just get this this thing by simply playing. I have to find the tricks and find the different ways in order for me to be able to actually get this trophy. It is insane. Like, this is really poorly done. They really are starting to feel like they are so good because the game got popular. The problem is that you need to stay humble, and I say this out of love. I was so freaking excited for this event. I streamed Phasmo 3 days in a row because I really wanted to play my first games of the event and find out about the event while on stream, and I was so excited, and they have totally ruined the experience for me. I would much rather have less maps that don't rotate every single day, but have a game that's stable and that actually makes me wanna play constantly. Because they now force me to do the thing that I hate the most, which is have a custom on zero evidence, especially because I like playing on I like playing on evidences, and they just took that away from me. From those 6 hours, I only had fun because I was playing with someone that I vibe with. With all of this said, I hope I helped you out with how to actually kind of grind a little bit this event. I would suggest you going on the Discord server for Phasmo if you wanna find other people to play with, or even if you wanna join my Discord, you might find someone. Like, I have, like, it's not super active, but there are a lot of people who are on my Discord who play Phasmo, myself included, so we might even get to play together. So with all of this said, I hope you guys have a great one. Good luck with your grinding. Let me know what you think about this event, if you love it, if you hate it, if you don't care for it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!